Hashem says to Avraham that he must leave his homeland, his birthplace, and his father's household. And where should he go? To the land that he will show him. The Torah could have written Lech, go, but the Torah adds another Lecha. So Rashi cites Chazal. What is the meaning of Lech Lecha? Ma'anoscha l'tovoscha. It's for your benefit and for your goodness. And only there will you merit to become a great nation, to receive a blessing, and to have renown. That's what Hashem says to Avraham. Lech lecha me'artzecha. The question is, the Gemara tells us that the first human being to recognize God on his own, to refer to God as master, was Avraham. He referred to God as Adni, master. Of course, Adam was created by God, was God's handiwork, was obvious. As it says, he saw from one end of the world to the other, being created, being placed in the Garden of Eden, in Gan Eden, and he was a prophet. God communicated with him initially, so of course he understood who God was. But Avraham, who was born in a pagan world, where, as it says later, when Avraham came on the scene, born into existence, God was Elokei Shamayim. God was only known in heaven. On the terrestrial level, he was an unknown quantity. Nobody knew that he existed. He drew him from the upper spiritual stratospheres and brought him to the terrestrial level. And he presented him as Adni, as he is the master. And this is what he disseminated. And this was his outreach. And he refuted paganism, that it's not the deity, but there's one supreme being that dictates and orchestrates and coordinates all existence, every moment of existence. This was Avraham Avinu. Most people make a mistake to think that Avraham Avinu discovered God on his own. Now, how does one come to a conclusion and have an understanding of what something truly is? One makes an evaluation, one makes an analysis, and based on the analysis, if the analysis is correct, it draws you or leads you to the correct understanding of what you're dealing with. Avraham had many questions regarding how does this world, this existence, who wills its function? And he went and interacted, had dialogues with the greatest minds of his generation. Wasn't satisfied with their answers. So, as a result of that, his conclusion was that there's one supreme being. Whenever you make an analysis, that it's a valid analysis, when you take all the variables into account and say, since I see the total picture, based on this, I understand this. But as a limited being, as every human being is limited, do we know what's at the far ends of existence? Do we know what's in heaven? So, almost a very tiny fraction of material or data is available to the person making the analysis. So how could Avraham's analysis been valid, and just based on that alone he was able to come upon the truth that there's one supreme being, there's a God, to refer to God as Adni? It's an impossibility. He figured it out. How did you figure it out? When 99.9% of the data, of the fact, you don't see, how do you come to such a conclusion? Therefore, it's an impossibility that Avraham discovered God. That's not the way it happened. But rather, as the Medrash states, Avraham sees an existence which is magnificent. It borders on the infinite. And he sees how everything complements everything else, whether it's the vegetation, whether it's the wildlife, whether it's the atmosphere, whether it's the seasons, whether it's mankind, different personalities, people gifted with various abilities. And everyone complements everyone else. There's nothing that's lacking in existence. Who brought all this about? So what did he see? He saw a fully functioning existence. So the Midrash says, what is the equivalent of seeing? He saw a bira dolekis. He saw a citadel fully illuminated, fully occupied, fully functioning. And he called out, so if you have a citadel, fully functioning, fully illuminated, there's somebody who occupies it. There's a master of that citadel. So he called out, Mi balabira. Who is the master of the citadel? That's the question he asked. Who is the master of the citadel? He had no response. And he went and he shopped this question throughout existence. Who is the master of the citadel? He had answers. The answers did not satisfy him. He had difficulty with the answers. There were answers, but it didn't fully answer the question. And as we always say, sometimes a person wants an answer only that the question should annoy him. But once the question stops annoying at him, he's satisfied. Although the answer truly doesn't answer the question. It's like people saying, I guess I could live with that answer. Avraham wasn't interested in living with an answer. He wanted to know the answer. As we will explain in a moment, why he wanted to know who the master of the citadel was. Why? Nobody responds. The greatest minds, even Nimrod, who threw him into the kiln, he interacted with him initially. This is something I surmise. Not explicit in Chazal, in the Midrash, in the Gemara. He probably did. Wasn't satisfied. His father was a great pagan, Terach, with all the minds. Wasn't satisfied. So he kept asking the question. Mi balabira. Very often, a person succumbs to certain situations where you can't come to a conclusion, you're willing to settle for less. Avraham wasn't willing to settle. He kept stating that question. Mi balabira. Who is the master of the citadel? Until finally, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, God himself says, Ani balabira. I am the master of the citadel. God communicated with him. That was a confirmation that there's only one monotheistic being, one supreme being, one omnipotent being, which dictates and orchestrates and causes every aspect of every level of existence should exist. That's how Avraham came upon Hashem. Oddly. So what precipitated this reality? Avram's quest for truth, that he wasn't willing to compromise it for any reason. He's the first person to call Hashem Adni. So you'd say, what's the great accomplishment? God comes to you himself and says, I'm the master of the universe. Of course you call him master. Right? Lahavdil. You attend the inauguration, Elif Abdullahs of the President of the United States, and you see who he is, and you're there. He's the president. So it's the great accomplishment. He's the first person who identified God as master. Of course, God came to him and says, I am the master. But why did God come to him and say, I am the master? Because he wasn't willing to compromise the standard of truth to take anything less than that. And he rejected everything else. Because it didn't fully answer his question. Who is the master? That question, not willing, unrelentingly asking that question, that's why he received that answer. Therefore, he's the one who actually precipitated and revealed who is the master through his quest for truth. Adam, he had nothing to do with precipitating anything. He was put in the Garden of Eden, God spoke to him. So of course he knows God's the master. That's how we knew it. Avraham, after God appeared to him, Avraham was committed to disseminate and to impress upon the world that this is God's world. And paganism there's no place for paganism. It's not the deities. The deities, the powers of the that exist, these are manifestations of God's will. These are agents of God. And they cannot do anything unless God allows them to do it as he dictates that they should do it. But the deity is not independent of God whatsoever. That's why God is known as Elokei Elohim. He is Elohim in the powers. He determines and dictates to the powers. Mi chamocha be'elim Hashem. Who is equivalent to you among all the angels, the powerful ones? Who is the equivalent of yourself? Because God is the one. If He wills, all that should be. Avraham disseminated this. And originally, as Avraham says to Eliezer, when originally I started out, Hashem, God was Elokei Shamayim, was the God of heaven. Today He's Elokei Oretz. Due to His dissemination and interaction with mankind, convincing him that there's only monotheism. There's no basis for paganism. This is Avraham Avinu. We read about when Avraham left Choron, he brought with him Hanefesh Osim Choron, the souls that he made in Choron. So Rashi cites Chazal based on Medrash. What's the Nefesh? The people he made. So Rashi cites the Chazal. Avraham Megayer Hanoshim. Avraham converted the men to monotheism. Sorai Megayeres Hanoshim. These were the people. Thousands, tens of thousands of followers that he had converted them to what? To believers, to monotheists. This is what happened. And this is, he left Urkaz, he left Choron with this. God says, Lech Lecha, Me'artzecha. Leave your land, your homeland, your birthplace, Beis Avicha. He left over Terach, his father. I mean, how's it possible? We find that in last week's parsha, we had read the reading, he left Urkazdim, went to Choron with his father. Terach took Avram, Sarai, Lot, and they went to Urkazdim. They went for Urkazdim to Choron. Your father goes and informs on you. To the point where you're given the choice, either bow or go into the fire and die and be incinerated, and could you look at your father again after that? You'd say, there's something wrong with the man. How could you even have a relationship? And he's dictating to Avraham how he should lead his life. V'yikach terach es Avram beno v'slot ben Horon ben beno v'sorei kalos eish es Avram beno v'yetzu mukazdim. Avram, terach is one who's dictating. V'yikach terach es Avram beno. Avram shouldn't have looked at his father after what you've done to me. Came out alive from the fire. But if not for that, he wouldn't be. But yet, he went along. He put up with his father. He honored his father. So he'd say, maybe. We'd once asked, we find that Avram treated Lot with kid gloves. As much as his behavior was unacceptable and his values were corrupted, he goes to Sodom, and he only went to Sodom initially when he had the dispute between his shepherds and Avram's shepherds, because that's exactly what he was. This is what he gravitated to. This is Chaton Grom Lashem Od. They defied God. They were corrupted between man and man and man and God. Besides, immersed in every depravity. How do you go there? That was Avram. He's taken captive. Avram goes to battle to save his life because he made a pact with him. Well, brothers, wherever you are, I will come to your defense. And he puts endless miracles. He defeats the four mightiest powers to save Lot's life. That's what he does. And after he defeats them, he's worried that maybe he depleted his merits because to bring about such level of miracles, maybe he's worried. He has nothing left to show for his life's accomplishment. Hashem says, Al tira Avram, schorcha harbe mod. Maybe I killed tzaddikim in this battle. Hashem says, you have nothing to worry about. You're secure. You're attacked plus. That's what God says to Avram. You put yourself out for such a man. Why? For what reason? And he takes him along. The Or Chaim HaKodesh explains when he says, you should leave your father's household, separate yourself from your family. Lot somehow imposed himself on Avram. Lot went with him. He went with him to Canaan. Terach stayed behind. But Lot imposed himself on his uncle. And he took him with him. For what did he put up with him? For what reason? Now, What happened with his father Haran? So Rashi cites Chazal that Haran was standing by the sidelines, and he said, I'm going to see what happens. If Avraham comes out of the fire alive, then I'm on Avram's side. If not, I will bow to the idol. I will be a pagan. If Avraham perishes in the fire, I will be a pagan. If not, that confirms monotheism, I will not bow. What does it mean, I will not bow? I'll go into the fire and come out alive. That's basically what he was doing. And that's what Chazal tell us. A person who gives his life and doesn't rely on miracle, that's the person who, it's possible he could merit a miracle. But a person initially puts his life on the line for the sake that a miracle should be performed on his behalf, that person is not going to merit a miracle. I mean, Haran said, if Avraham comes out alive, that means God performed the miracle for him. That proves, if that's the case, I'm going in. So he went in to come out. So what's the great accomplishment? But factually, what was known to the world? Haran gave his life not to be a pagan. He died al Kiddush Hashem. That's factually. Lot is the son of a father. He's orphaned because his father gave his life al Kiddush Hashem. Regardless that he believed he'd come out alive. Doesn't make a difference. Factually, he died al Kiddush Hashem. If Lot's father dies al Kiddush Hashem to sanctify God's name, I am committed to Lot. For his father's sake. Because one doesn't have a father. I will stand by him. We are brothers. I will not leave a stone unturned for you. Even if it means putting my life's accomplishment on the line. And that's why he was worried. He went to battle. Maybe depleted. Hashem says, you have nothing to worry about. Altir Avram. Schor Charbi mode. Your reward is enormous. You have nothing to worry about. So regardless of who Lot was, he could have been depraved. He could have been a bad person, which he was. Committed incest with his daughters, whatever it was. And it's only because that was his intent. The second night, he was aware what happened the first night. How does he get drunk again? So Chazal say, of course, it wasn't so foreign to him to be involved in this kind of relationship. That was Lot. Doesn't make a difference. So Lot, the reason, although Hashem says you should leave your father's household, depart from your family, when Lot imposed himself, he didn't throw him away. He didn't push him away. But later, when there was the quarrel, dispute between his shepherds and Lot's, then Lot had tremendous wealth. He says, it's time to separate. You go to the right, I'll go to the left, vice versa. They separated. What happened right afterwards? The Rechaim HaKodesh makes this point. Immediately, after Lot separated from him, Hashem appears to Avraham. Until then, he didn't appear to him. Why? For that reason. Because he had to divorce himself, terminate every level of relation from his family for the Shekhinah to come to him. Until then, there was this block. There was this blockage. Couldn't happen. This is a beautiful midrash. The Midrash Chumash says it one way, almost exactly as the Yalkut. Omer Abovin, Moshe Letzlucha Shel Falyoto, Hanesuna Beis HaKvoros. Avraham Avinu was the equivalent of a flask of fragrant perfume, which is in the cemetery. Lo Yodam Yodei Recho. So if it's in the cemetery, who even knows that this beautiful fragrance is emitting from this perfume? Ma'osu. So how do you make people aware that there's such a beautiful fragrance? They took it and they transported from place to place among the living. So its fragrance became known in the world. He was in Choron, or Kazdim, where he was. Leave this location, and I will make your essence, your value known in the world. Now, the Medrash Tanchuma says it a little slightly differently. That the Yalkut, that we are now in Orkazdim L'choron, just as a person, as the corpse is not able to benefit from the perfume, from the fragrance, if you think you could somehow impact on these people to bring them back, even like in a cemetery, as you can't bring a corpse back to life, these people, you cannot revive them. They don't have a spark of holiness in their souls to ignite them. Therefore, you must leave. You're the equivalent of being in a cemetery. Go among the living. Among the living, you'll be more effective. Where is that? The land that I will show you, which is Canaan. That's where it is. So let's understand. What drove Avraham to seek out who the master of the universe was? Who's the creator? What drove him? What pushed him? Avraham Avinu had a capacity, one of a kind of a capacity, to express his appreciation and his debt of gratitude to whoever his benefactor is. He had tremendous hakar satov. The person appreciates life. The Chovas Levov speaks about. The person understands what God has endowed a human being, even with the basic amenities of life, function. You have a body, you have a mind. Without wealth, without any of the extras, you know how thankful you have to be. That your body functions healthily, and your mind, and you could speak, and your thought process. A person should sing God's praises forever. Just for that alone. But unfortunately, that's not the reality of people. Not. But what should a person's focus be? Right? What have I received? Rather than saying, I'm entitled. Yeshel Mona Rotzim Messiah. Why? Because we're always focusing on what we don't have, not what we do have. But if we focus on what we do have, we'd be appreciative. We want to talk about entitlement. Because you have it all and you have more than all. Avraham Avinu had this capacity. And he had this focus. Who is my benefactor? Who created this magnificent world? Who gives me this opportunity? And plus, endless plus more. Who is he? I want to express my homage to him. Dedicate my life to him. But it has to be the right benefactor. Whoever that master is. Who is the master of the citadel? This beautifully, fully functional, operational citadel that there's nothing missing in this existence. That's what's driving it. Ani Balabira. I'm the master of the citadel. Okay? Now Avraham Avinu knows who to dedicate his life to. He went into the fire for God. Went into the fire. That's the least he could do. It's God's world. I should go live a falsehood. I should be an accomplice to reinforce something which is unacceptable. Many years ago, I was a scholar in residence in a certain community, Sephardic community. Must have been about 32 years ago, when the Deal community was a small community. And it was in the winter. And the rabbi invited me to come. And I spoke at they call it a sevet. It's like a kiddush, but it's a meal. And the Syrian community specifically has tremendous bracha, material blessing. Very successful. And so I spoke, and I said, Baruch Hashem, everybody, is very successful in their lives, live in beautiful homes, have a beautiful shul. They're charitable. They do great things. But how do we express our gratitude? And to who do we express our gratitude? I said I'd like to explain it with a parable, with a mashal. There was this person who wanted to remain anonymous, who agreed to underwrite a family. Whatever the financial needs of the family would be, this person would provide the means, the financial means for the family. And they made an evaluation, and every month a check would arrive with a messenger delivering the check every month. And this continued for 25 years. 1 month after month, the check arrived. It was more than enough to cover the needs of the family, vacations, education, whatever was there. Nothing was lacking. Marrying off the children, grandchildren. After 50 years, the beneficiary, the recipient of all this tremendous bracha from this anonymous benefactor says to his wife, I think we have to make a party. We get the best caterer, the most beautiful hall, invite all the friends. Who's the guest of honor? The mailman who delivered the check every month. He's the guest of honor. You understand? Who do we thank? The vendor. The one who made the connection. My biggest buyer. Who do you thank? You have to go straight to the top. Who's willing this? Who's causing this? That's who you have to express your debt of gratitude. You have to dedicate your life to. All the bracha. But that's on a very special level. But every one of us, thank God, the person's healthy. Even if he's not healthy, he still doesn't want to die. He still has. God is still the provider. Where's your appreciation? Where's your debt of gratitude? Where's your dedication? Avraham Avinu was outstanding in this area. Debt of gratitude, hakor satov. The Mishnah tells us that if you find a lost article of your father or a stranger, although there's a Torah obligation to return the lost article of a Jew, and you have no obligation to return your father's lost article and the stranger's lost article. Your father's lost article takes precedence over the stranger's lost article. Why? Because you have a debt of gratitude to your father. If your father wouldn't have fathered you, you wouldn't exist. So whatever you have in existence is due to your father. So therefore, because you have the first obligation to your father, therefore you must return his lost article first. That's hakor satov. That's your debt of gratitude. What did Avram owe Terach, his father? Avram turned out to be the first human being to recognize God as master. Of course, everything's predestined except free choice. But factually, if Avram wouldn't have lived, wouldn't have been born, there would never been a context for him to choose as he chose. So if you trace it to the origin, he owes his father everything. If his father's evil is one thing, but Avram, we find, the Midrash quotes a pasuk, Achos lonu ketano. Avram Avinu, there was no interaction with a pagan that he did not succeed to convince the person to monotheism. These are strangers. So if he goes and he's able to bring strangers back to monotheism, to save their souls, HaNefesh Osa B'choron, it's his own father. He should abandon. But his father wanted to inform them. He was thrown into a kiln. But that was only based on because his father was a devout pagan. He didn't understand. But if it is a way that he's able to give his father an understanding of truth, of course he wants to. God says, Lech Lecha Acknowledging. What about your countrymen? Every human being is a composite and a product of his life's experiences, positive and negative. I have a debt of gratitude to my countrymen. Whatever that is, the culture, the perspectives, it forms a person, his personality. The way he processes things. So there's a debt of gratitude from Me'artzecho. What about Moladatcho, your birth location? Even more so. They're closer to you. They also had an impact on your development. So you have a debt of gratitude. Hashem says, leave Artzecho, leave your land, leave your birthplace. even Beis Avicha, the ones who had the greatest level of influence. Your father who mentored you, who had the greatest level of influence. Your siblings, whatever, your family members. You must depart. You must terminate the relationship. And Lech Lecha, and that's in your best interest. By leaving them all. La noscha ul tovoscha. Why? Because it's the equivalent of being in a cemetery. Now, so what was the test to Avram? What could have Avram said to Hashem? Of course he's going to go. Did Avram need incentives to go? La noscha tovoscha. What, the only reason why he would have wanted to stay would be what? Hashem, give me one more chance. Before I leave, if I leave, I'm abandoning my father forever. He goes into the oblivion. But at least if I try one more time, maybe I'll be able to somehow snare him, to grab hold of him. Hashem says, it's over. But it's my father. And Avram, what drives him? Debt of gratitude. He's a debtor. Hashem says, go immediately. Picks himself and leaves. Doesn't question God. Despite the weight of the debt, that wasn't enough for him to delay and tarry for a moment. He left immediately. The Rechaim HaKodesh points out after Hashem speaks to him and says, Vayelech Avram. Avram went. So Rechaim HaKodesh says, Ochein Voris HaKosvi Lodio Chiboso Shel Avram. Did you see the tremendous love that Avram had for Hashem? Shelo Nisakev Afilu Sha'achas. He did not delay, not for a moment. The moment God finished speaking to him, immediately picked himself up and left. El B'Gmar Dvar Hashem Lech Lecha. The moment God finished saying Lech Lecha, Takef Vayelech Avram V'lo Nisakev L'Shum Siba. Nothing, no reason could hold him back. He abandoned his father and his birthplace. V'shir tevas chof kasher hoduas hazman. As God had spoken, show you so much of Hashem. As God had spoken, the moment God finished speaking to him, he was out. What about you? Got to put together, your assets. You have to this, that, whatever you can take, you take immediately. Anything longer than that, you don't delay. Because God says, let go. Lech Lecha. So what's Lecha? What's the only thing that could have... What wasn't an incentive? Lech, it's in your interest. Hadoscha l'tovoscha. What's hadoscha l'tovoscha? If your whole value is only to express your debt of gratitude to God, you want to be a beneficiary, and you want to have good, you go where you'll be the beneficiary, because that's where you're going to be an effective person. The Torah says, what did Hashem say? How did he incentivize him? Ve'eschol godol, I will make you into a great people, a great nation. And I will give you renown. So Rashi over here, one interpretation says, V'agadlo shmecho, hareini mosef osal shmecho. I will add a letter. It was originally Avraham, he became Avraham. Shar achshav shibcha Avram. Mikad ve'elech Avram. Until now, your name is Avram. You're going to become Avraham. Va'avram ola ramach keneged evor shalom. And the numerical value of Avram is 248, which corresponds to the totality of the male, of all his limbs. You become the complete person. It's interesting. We had mentioned in the name of the Maral, the letters of Behi Borom, at the beginning of creation. God created them. Oh, the same letters as Avram, just to rearrange the letters. Just as creation was the beginning of what we call Yesh Mi'ayin, ex nihilo, nothing existed and something came into existence. when Avram came into existence, the Hibarom, he was the equivalent of a new creation. When did he become the equivalent of a new creation? When he had the letter Hey added to his name. The Medrash says clearly that just as the spirituality letter Hey was necessary to create all existence, identically adding the letter to your name of Avram will give you the ability to father Yitzchak. Avram ein lo ben. Avraham yesh lo ben. What does that mean? Whatever was needed to bring about all existence, that's needed to create this metamorphosis within Avram to be able to father the future patriarch, which is the eternal people who will father Yaakovim, who's the Muvcha Shebavos, who's the most special of the patriarchs who fathered 12 sons, the Shiftei Kor. This is Agad Lo Shmecha. So what's L'Hadoshchol Tovoscha? And whose merit? By going to the land that I will show you, what will you be able to accomplish there? By bringing people back to monotheism. That's part of the schus. And all the souls that he brought back, you can merit ABC. But this is all on a spiritual level. He cites a Chazal, V'eschol HaGoy Godol Zeh Shomrim Elokei Avrom, V'avorecho Zeh Shomrim Elokei Yitzchak, Agad Lo Shmecho Zeh Shomrim Elokei Yaakov, Yochel Yichos Mikulam. Maybe we conclude the first bracha of the Amidah Shmon Esrei with Mogen Avram Yitzchak Yaakov, Talmud Loma V'ei Bracha Bo Chosmin V'lo B'hem. Quotes the Gemara Psachim. We will conclude with you, not with them. How do we understand this? When Adam Rishon ate of the Eitz Hadas, not only did he putrefy all mankind, because he ingested a fruit that had ra, was tov ra, all existence became putrefied. So what did God do? God departed from existence. Avraham Avinu, through his yearning and through his efforts and through his contributions to make God known in the world, God came down to the terrestrial level. He became Elokei Oretz. Okay? Avraham Avinu, his attribute was chesed. Since there's a mitzvah to emulate God, which attribute did Avram choose to emulate? Mahu afato. As he's chesed, Avram was chesed. Yitzchak chose din, gvura, exactness, perfection. Yaakov chose rachmin, tiferes. Each one chose another attribute. And that's why it doesn't say Elokei Avram Yitzchak Yaakov. He's the God of Avram Yitzchak. He's Elokei Avram. Avram represented a certain aspect of God's attribute, one attribute. Yitzchak, another attribute. That's why Elokei is mentioned again. And again, Elokei Yaakov, another attribute. When God chose to decided to create this world, what are attributes? We say, Hakel, HaGodol, HaGibor, HaNora. Godol is Chesed, Gibor is Gvura, Nora is Tiferes, is Rachmin. But what do we say right afterwards? Kel El God, that's not what God is. God may be merciful, he may be indiscriminately kind, but that has no reflection on its essence. He chose those attributes to interact with existence. That's the way he deals with existence, mankind. With chesed, with din, with rachmin. But what about if mankind they don't even believe in him? He has no relevance to this existence. So what gave him relevance to this existence? You have a person like Avraham Avinu, who emulates God in chesed to the nth degree. He is the pillar of chesed, of loving kindness. Hashem relates to this existence with the conflict chesed. Okay, he has an address. The address is Avraham Avinu. Heineina Merkova. They are the location. Avraham was the location. Why was he the location? Because he perfected chesed. Yitzchak was the location. Because he perfected Gvura, Din. Yaakov was the location. Because he perfected Tiferes, Rachmi. So this is what Chazal is saying. Hashem says, Eschol Godol. I will make you into great people. Zeh she'omrim Elokei Avram. Avram is the founding father of the Klal Yisrael. I will make you into a great nation. Why was everything able to manifest itself from Avram to follow to Yitzchak to Yaakov? Because Avram was Avram. He was the precipitator. He was the founder. He's the founding father of Klal Yisrael. Avram Avinu. You will be the great nation. From you, the great nation will emanate. How? It evolves. There's Yitzchak and there's Yaakov. Yaakov was Shiftei Kor. That's Klal Yisrael. That's Eschol Goy Godel. So it began with what? With Chesed. Zeh shomer Elokei Avram. Vavorechecho. Zeh shomer Elokei Yitzchak. Agad l'shmecha, I will give you renown. Where did the renown? When did we become Klal Yisrael? This is Elokei Yaakov. We became Yisrael. Kisarisa l'kim ba'odu v'tucho. You lord over man and God, then you succeeded. You were victorious. So maybe I should conclude with all of them. So simply you understand, because you're the one who actually, you set the dynamic in direction. Not for you, there wouldn't have been a Yitzchak and a Yaakov to follow. Right? So maybe it could be understood this way. The way it could be said that why did Avram choose Chesed to be his attribute? David HaMelech says in Tehillim, Olam Chesed Yiboneh. Why did God create existence? God has nothing. If God is perfect in the absolute sense, God has nothing from this existence. Because God wanted man should be a beneficiary of the ultimate good, which is having a relation with Him. I'm just quoting the Ramchal's words verbatim. God, good does good. Chesed means there's no reason. It's not that I owe anything to anyone. Chesed is indiscriminate kindness. He creates a context for man to be the ultimate beneficiary. That's Olam Chesed Yiboneh. What was the basis for creation? Chesed. So if Avram himself is introducing God into a paganistic world where God doesn't exist, and especially if God is the beginning of if Avram is the beginning of new creation, which attribute should Avram emulate? Chesed, Olam Chesed Yiboneh. Therefore, he chooses what is his personal attribute? Chesed. Chesed. Olam Chesed Yiboneh. That's why he chose Chesed. We say every morning in Birchas Kriya Shema, Hamachadesh v'tuva b'chol yom tov in Maaseh Bereishis. God renews through His goodness every day the act of creation. What does that mean? It's not God created the world so many thousands of years ago, and that just continues. Every moment of existence, God is willing existence as the first moment. Through His goodness, He's renewing, and what is that? Willing creation. Now, why did He will creation initially? Olam Chesed Yiboneh. Why is He still willing existence? Chesed. So therefore, it's B'chol Chosman. Said, if not for the attribute of Chesed, there wouldn't be a world. In the second bracha of Shmoneh Esrei, Mechalkel Chayim B'Chesed. We still say it today. Why is He sustaining life? Chesed. That's Olam Chesed Yiboneh. Chesed is still in place. So, B'chol Chosman, so Avram's attribute, which he assumed, that's still in place. That's still, if that wouldn't function, there wouldn't be a world. Therefore, it's B'chol Chosman. The others are only a derivative, an outgrowth of the Olam Chesed Yiboneh. If not Olam Chesed Yiboneh, there'd be no existence. And that's continuous. Therefore, it's B'chol Chosman. Therefore, who do we conclude the bracha? It's Mogen Avram. Because it's only him, because of what he represents, you have an existence. That's the understanding. Hashem says to Avraham, "Avorchem evorchecho." I will bless those who bless you, umakalelcha or, and I will curse those who curse you. So over here, the Baal HaTurim explains something beautiful. Makalelcha or, the gematria. What's the numerical value? Those who curse you will be cursed. Bilam habo lekal bonecho. Bilam wanted to curse us. The Gemara said, based on the pasuk, Hashem says, every day my wrath comes out in the world. And Bilam knew that exact moment. And that's when he was going to curse us. God, for those days, withheld his wrath, so Bilam should not be able to curse us. That's Makalel Cha'or. Bilam habo lekal bonecho. Bilam is going to attempt to curse your children. Makalel Cha'or, he will be cursed. Bilam. So again, where does that emanate from? I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse those who curse you. The Ohr HaChaim HaKadosh says something beautiful over here. A person who's not blessed gives a bracha. It has value. As the Gemara says, Al-Tim Birchas Hedjikal Beinecha. Even the bracha of an ordinary person should not be should not be taken lightly. Every person's bracha has value. What about a person who gives you the bracha is a blessed person? And even has greater value. So he says, Avorchem v'orchecha. I will bless the ones who will bless you, I will bless them earlier. So when they bless you, they will already be blessed, so that blessing should have greater value. But Makalelcha, those who want to curse you, I will curse them then. But in terms of being a beneficiary, I will bless those in advance, so you should be a greater beneficiary of the bracha. I mentioned before the pasuk in Shir Hashirim, Ochos Lono Kitana. We have a small sister, Shaddai Mila. She has no breasts. Woman, before she reaches puberty, she's not developed. So the Medrash explains this pasuk, this verse. What is the pasuk speaking about? Avraham shishlichu Nimrod tochakivsho. Nimrod had cast Avraham into the fire and kiln. Kitana, what does it mean? Shaddai lo also lo HaKadosh Baruch Hu Nisim. When he bowed, God didn't yet show that he's going to make it. When he went in to die. V'lo ochos. Why is it called ochos? She'ichas ha'olam t'nei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If you have a tear in a piece of cloth and you bring the sides together and you sew it, that's called ma'acher. You bring it together. He brought the world together to accept God. That's achos. Kodem hazeh shekarei ma'acher. Regarding the laws of Shabbos, you have korei amlas litva. Tearing normally is a destructive act. But sometimes the tailor or the seamstress has to tear to line it up to sew. So the tearing is a constructive act. It's not a destructive act. It's the equivalent of the person who first tears the material, then he stitches it. Therefore, Avram is called the stitcher, right? V'shadayim ein lo. Shadayim lo hi lo banim. He had no children. A woman is able to nurse only when she lactates, when she has children. Ma'anasa lo choseinu b'yom sheduber bo. V'yom shom Nimrod lashlichu l'kivsha meish. Nimrod gave Avram an ultimatum: bow to the idol or into the fire. So Hashem says, Im choymehi, if it will be like a wall which repels all attacks, nivno le'atiras kesef, I will build a silver edifice upon it, a tower of silver. Im nosei nafshu kechom uzu, she omeres b'tim l'chomas harbe. If he will allow himself to be as strong as a wall, which repels all attacks, v'imtzar asmo al kedushas Hashem, and he will give his life to sanctify his name. Nivno le'atiras kesef, I will build upon him a silver edifice, a silver tower. Elu Yisrael. Then he will be the founding father of Klal Yisrael. Shekrom kanfei yono nechva b'kesef. The Jewish people are compared to a dove who's with silver-coated wings. In delicacy, this posuk still. In delicacy, but he's like a piece of wood, a wooden door. Not like the stone wall that repels all attacks. What's delis? Ibdal hu b'limsor al tusesh. Nafshal tusem. He's too weak. And he doesn't want to give his name. He doesn't want to give his life to Saint Hashem's name. The word dal. Dal is impoverished. Notzil of luach oris. I will attach to him a plank of cedar wood. Matsurav shebeluach erez nochad etashtish. Something that's just painted onto a wooden plank could be smeared and smudged and be obliterated easily. Kach Avraham, eini mashgiach olav. I won't pay attention to him. He's a tzad. It's okay. Did nothing wrong, but I will not pay attention to him. Om Avraham, when Avraham heard this challenge, he says, Ani choma. I will be the choma. I will be the wall. Limsa nafshek tu shishimcha. To give my life. V'lo ani bilvod. But not only me, myself, v'shodai kimigdolos. My breasts are like towers. Who are they? B'nei bonov chanai mishov azario. They were the ones who were thrown into the kill by Nebuchadnezzar. V'dorasha Rav Hananya ben Trajo. And the generation of the what? Of the 10 martyrs. Which each one was killed and tortured in a way which is not to be understood. V'chaverov. She'itnu nafshem akdushi shemecho. That they will give their lives. Lefichoch. Also yisi be'edav kemotze shalom. Sheyotze shalom in akivsha. Therefore, he will emerge from that fiery kiln in peace. Therefore he will emerge. Because his children in the future will do that. Therefore he will emerge from the fiery kiln in peace. He will emerge because what does that do with his children? Because his children will also give their lives. Now, factually, there's another posuk that it says that Yaakov redeemed Avram from the kiln. Let's say it was never meant to be a Yaakov born. Avram displayed his dedication to God. He should have died. Now he lives forever. Intimately attached to the Shekhinah, to divine presence. The world to come. So why did God take him out of the fiery kiln? Because there had to be a Yaakov. If he would have perished, there wouldn't have been a Yaakov. Why does that have to be Yaakov? Because there has to be a Klal Yisrael. Rishis Bora, Vishul Yisrael Shnikarashis. There has to be a Torah. They represent God's existence. Klal Yisrael. That's what we represent. If Avram's children would not give their lives in the future, and he gives his life, end it right here. But since his children will have the ability to Mekadesh Shem Shemaim, to say God's name in the future, therefore, that's the reason for him to live. Otherwise, he's accomplished. He's given his life. Let him be incinerated, end it. He's already displayed Kiddush Hashem. But why go beyond that? If there's nothing to be beyond that. No, there's going to be tremendous things beyond that. He's going to have grandchildren to do the same, which they can display their Kiddush Hashem. If that's the case. If he perishes, there's no future Kiddush Hashem. There's no sanctification. That's Shodak Himigdolos. That since he's going to have in the future grandchildren and Nasori Rugi Malchus, the 10 martyrs, who were killed by the Romans, who it's one of a kind of Kiddush Hashem which they displayed. Therefore, of course he can't die. That was the basis for the Ness. It's interesting. The Medrash says, why did Avram come out of the fire and Haran did not? Because a person who goes into the fire with a mind that a Ness should be performed to him, he will not merit the Ness. So Avram went in to die. He didn't know whether he would come out or not. And he gave his life, Al Kiddush Hashem. Haran went in to come out. But again, what we're saying now, the reason why he came out was because there was meant to be these future generations that are going to bring back Kiddush Hashem. So that's the reason why he married the miracle. Not because he went in to die. Right? Right? That's the reason. Let's say he went in to come out. Actually, that also would have been a shortcoming. That means you're not sufficiently dedicated to what? To my name. Dedication means you have to die. Not that I should perform a miracle. The Gemara tells us that even if you do mitzvah with a self-interest, it has value. Why? Because ultimately it could bring you to a lishmo level, to do it for the right reason. Could you imagine the king says to you, I want you to do something. And the king has the ability to take your life. And you say to the king, the truth is, if you wouldn't be able to take my life, and you wouldn't give me the stipend that you give me, I wouldn't even look at you. But because you have control of my life, that's the reason why I have no choice but to do it. What is a person would make such a statement? What does he deserve? He deserves the decapitation. It's a level of disrespect not to be believed. A person does a mitzvah shlo lishma. Hashem says, do my mitzvah. I'm doing it. Do I have a choice? Because I know I'm going to get the gravy at the end of the pot of gold, at the end of the rainbow, therefore I'm doing it. And it's even a question, maybe yes, maybe no. Or because I get all the attention, all the acknowledgement. That's why you're doing it. But God's totally irrelevant. Even Yirsa Onesh, because I'm afraid you're going to punish me. That's the reason to do it. If not for that, you say, if you can't punish me, I'm out of here. And I wouldn't pay attention to you. Right? Never heard of such a thing. A person to go into the fire only because you can perform a miracle for him. Right? It's unacceptable. Unacceptable. So why do you go in? I go in to die. Why? Because that's what God would want. It's not. I'm not making deals with God. That's the reason why I always say that people, there's certain terminologies which we use which we're not even aware. At one time, a korban was referred to as a sacrifice. Today we became a little more sophisticated. An offering. Yeah, a person needs kapara. He needs atonement. Your neshama is damaged. You say to God, I'll make you an offer. You make God an offer. A person's on dialysis, on heart-lung machine. He's in the ICU. He's barely alive. And you say, Doc, I'll make you an offer. What are you talking about? In a moment you're about to expire. You make an offer here. You make God an offer. You got to make a sacrifice. You make a sacrifice. We talk about living. We talk about repairing in the neshama. It's an arrogance. Say to Hashem, I'm making an offering. And that's only a reflection. It's unintentional, but it's just the nature of society, right? That it's part of an expression of entitlement. If I make you an offer, would you respond to me? Again, a person who goes into the fire, al nashin yasalo nes, the nes is not happening. Avraham says, I will be like the choma that repels all battles. Then I will build that silver tower upon you, which is Klal Yisrael. And then you will have children who perform Kiddush Hashem throughout the ages. Whether it was in the Crusades, Chana Mishor Nazario, till the end of time. Because that midah, famous word from Chaim Volozhina, the reason why Jews have the ability to give their lives al Kiddush Hashem, because Avraham did, and he implanted in his neshama that ability. Every Jew has that ability to give his life to sanctify God's name.